Welcome to January of 2023, a month in which areas of our lives individually and collectively that have been stuck, postponed, quagmired, or just feeling like nothing is really happening are going to suddenly jump forward as three planets move into direct motion, which will feel a lot like relief. Add to that Venus, the goddess of love, art and beauty, kindness, friendship, that fairness, is also doing some really interesting sky stories in the month of January that'll bring a little bit of renewal around areas of money and love and peace and harmony stories in your life. It's a pretty good month altogether, and I actually like it a lot because we're coming off of some really intense energy from 2022, and January feels a lot like a kind of a resting zone. There's even a quiet period of sky in the middle of the month where there's not even much happening. So we're going to talk about this for your sign. Normally, this is by the way, if you're new to my channel, I'm Lori Lothian. I do the Hellenistic style whole sign houses. I am a traditional astrologer using techniques from ancient astrology, techniques that go back to Persia, Babylon, and ancient Greece. But in the meantime, that aside, if you are new and you want to like my channel or subscribe, or check my description box for anything I have down below, including my Sky Reader class and my Divine Timing Masterclass. There are wait lists you want to get on for those because they sell out before they go public, just from the wait list itself. And those are coming up in February and in the month of March. Now, enough business. Oh, and don't forget, my 2023 All Signs video bundle and individual readings are out. And in the description box below, if you want to grab those, just look down below and you can purchase them for hardly anything. Santa25 is your code for YouTube followers. Okay. And it's a special discount of 25% off. All right, so let's get going. Normally, you'll notice that I always do these individual videos for all signs each month. This month, I won't be able to do that because I have been really busy, obligated with family time. It is Christmas and the holidays, and plus doing a lot of great videos I hope you're enjoying for a big headliner action next year. And if you check my description box and or my channel, you'll see things like the Pluto and Aquarius or the Saturn and Pisces videos. And so that took a little extra time. So you're going to get your own sign today, but you're only going to get a little chunk of time. Well, you know, normally I'd spend 20 minutes on you, you'll probably get 10, and you'll just have to go to the timestamps. Or you can look in the chapters, which means click the headline and you'll be able to jump to your sign. I like to stick around just a little bit before we do the all signs. Okay, just before your sign, because I might want to say a few things about the collective. Now, I'm not going to go into a big deal about the collective, but I would say this: with Mars finally moving direct on January the 12th, and with war in the Ukraine, for example, still persisting with Russia, there's a possibility, because Mars stations on a warrior star in Aldebaran, means he pauses in the sky around the 10th of January, and then finally starts to slowly move forward at 8 degrees of Gemini on the 12th. And FYI, he's going to be kind of at that same degree, 8 degrees from January 1st to January 23rd. That's a long time at 8 Gemini. So obviously you've got a planet near there, or your sun or moon or rising is at 8 Gemini. It's really impacting you. But the thing is that this star that he's on, Aldebaran, is a warrior star. And it is the connected to the idea of war, also to the idea of a royal Persian star of success and victory, and all kinds of cool stuff, especially to do with communication and a mastery of communication. And in the medieval astrology, he was connected to the archangel Aldebaran, to the archangel Michael. So for some who has a sword in his hand, in the biblical lore. So for some of you, this is especially for the air signs. Oh, just about knocked my lamp over. Excuse me. I'm making do with a bunch of lamps because I'm moving and I don't have my lighting kit. I just about knocked over an expensive lamp. Let me just adjust that. And it's not my lamp to knock over. I'm visiting a friend right now while I wait for my place to be available in the middle of January. So anyway, apologies. But that's totally typical of an Aldebaran moment, right? There's a warrior star and I shriek aloud. But it could be a big shift of direction or a change of momentum in wars. And this includes Taiwan and China, unfortunately, because there's a strong connection to the Taiwan story with Mars. And right now, Taiwan is, of course, not wanting to be taken over by China, but China is like, this is our land. So it's a bit of a quagmire. So stay tuned for some stories about Taiwan, maybe some stories about Ukraine, a shifting direction, hopefully with the Ukraine-Russia thing in a positive way, around the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th-ish of January. And also for the collective is at the very beginning of this year, like on New Year's Day, literally as a clock strikes midnight kind of thing, and then into New Year's Day, Venus is conjunct Pluto. This is her last conjunction with Pluto, okay, in Capricorn in our lifetimes. And so she's been doing this conjunction since 2009. And this is where she's been meeting up with the god of things to do with power and finances and Wall Street and a corporatocracy and all of these things. And who knows what she's going to do in her last salvo, because as she meets in the sky with Pluto on New Year's Day, it's just a few days after Mercury stations retrograde at 29 degrees of Cap. On the 29th, I'm sorry, I think around 6 degrees of Cap. But the point is, Mercury retrograding in Capricorn often shows up as a change in the directions in the stock markets, quite often backwards, like to go backward, but it could go the other way. And then Venus and Pluto are a bit of a wealth union. There's things going on, like the 29th of December and leading us into January with that energy that says there's going to be some really big shifts or things going on, let's say in the first few days of January, to do with the global stock markets, the equity markets, the US markets in particular. Maybe it's more about the cryptocurrency contagion. For example, FTX trading platform collapsed, and that's a big scandal. And then, of course, there's contagion, meaning that not everybody knows which other crypto companies or whatever were exposed to this basic bankruptcy. And so there could be some crypto ecosystem environmental contagion stories, possibly because Venus rules currency, Pluto its death, and Mercury is also involved in marketing and merchandising and mercantile. So we shall see what happens there. Okay, so let's talk about other big brush strokes for January, and then we'll do your sign. I promise we'll do your sign. Hang in there. If you're in the live premiere with me, because I like to do these in the live premieres, meaning you can chat with me while the video is playing, then please hit my like button and make the channel grow with me. Be a team player. And if you're not subscribed, please do. So the direct motion energy is big in January. So we've all been kind of like swamped, with retrogradation in the fall of 2022, especially given that like big heavyweights like Jupiter were in retrograde motion for so long, in Jupiter's case until the end of October. And then Mars went retrograde. So everything just kind of felt like, can we ever get anything forward, clear momentum going on in our lives individually and collectively? And you'll see that a lot in things that get quagmired and stagnant in the collective. For example, things like the situation with Elon Musk and Twitter. I can't even tell now. Is he staying? Is he going? Is he going to hang in there? No one knows. Everything's uncertain. Well, clear directionality regarding global themes should become emergent and clear, but in your own life as well, you'll feel like, I'm going forward at last. This is going to take off. So Mars goes direct on January 12th, and then Mercury goes direct from his retrograde on January 18th. And then later on, Uranus, a big slow moving, giant of a planet in terms of speed, like glacial speed planet, takes 84 years to go around the 12 signs of the zodiac, does his kind of slow station forward on the 22nd of January at 14 degrees of Taurus. Now that's all a hot spot in our collective sky, because the North Node traveled over that spot, and then even Mars joined in back in the last week of July and the first week of August. And a lot of people said, oh, nothing happened to me. Nothing happened to me when the big boom happened, right? When those three got together, which is a really, like, it's a 15-year synodic cycle. But when you add Mars, it was this 2300 years cycle rare. Because that's been a sensitized spot in the sky, and the energy around Taurus at 15, 16, 17 is really hot, 18. There's something to be said about that, because this is a month in which we're going to find that the energy of the last week of July in your life and collectively, and maybe the first week of August or so, is coming back for a revisit or a redo. And part of this is going to be because Uranus is stationing direct in Taurus, where all of this stuff was happening, and he'll station in the hot seat sky around 14 degrees of Taurus. And so things that were inward with Uranus or unseen because he was retrograde will now become clear and apparent, and it could lead to some exciting developments. Like I've been predicting, like, when are we going to see like the underwater city, undersea city, or the new excavation of something under the earth, which is one thing Uranus can do here, but he can also destabilize currencies and stock markets. He can also destabilize or radically disrupt things to do with food supply chains. as well. And the last time he was a Taurus, we had the Great Depression. So as he goes direct, we're going to have clarity about what he's got in his package of goodies for us, because he can deliver them now, hopefully for the better. The other thing is, if you think about Uranus and Taurus, it's really about shaking up the ground. Taurus is an earth sign. And, one of the big hits on Netflix right now, and I've always loved Graham Hancock. People call him Graham Hancock, the author of Fingerprints of the Gods and a bunch of other cool books about ancient archaeology and reframing times and looking at how things are older than we think and getting scientific evidence in there to make his case as well. Of course, he's radically outside the bounds of traditional archaeology, but more and more archaeologists are seeing the light, and because geologists are coming in and correcting them. So things like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey being like 11,000 years old, it makes it impossible according to the old archaeology theory. And the reason I'm bringing it up is his Netflix show, I can't remember what it's called, is a hit. And that's so Uranus and Taurus, to find this undiscovered realm beneath the earth and talk about it collectively and have us shake up our status quo of how we think the world works. Now, he's going direct, so hopefully we'll have a real discovery, like a city under the earth or a new excavation over the months that follow. But January 22nd, he's going direct, and that's going to mean things to do with your life and the collective in the end of July, beginning of August could start to show up again. So you might want to think back to what was happening then. And then Mercury this month is really busy with that hot seat in the sky as well that we were talking about, in the Taurus zone around 14 to 18 degrees. And that's because Mercury will trine Uranus 3 times. He did it first on December 17th. Put these dates on your calendar, go back to around December 17th. He did a trine to Uranus around 15 Taurus. Okay, that's 15 Cap to 15 Taurus. Mercury's in Capricorn for a dog's age, December 6th to February 11th, because of a retrogradation cycle. Then again, on the retrograde pass on January the 8th, he's going to trine Uranus again. That's like a day or so after he goes into the heart of the sun to be born again as a brand new Mercury in his morning star version, morning sky version. And so there's something about that, what's going on here with Mercury, that he gets new mission instructions from the divine soul of our solar system, King Soul, the solar energy, sort of a reboot and a refresh. And will be visible around the 12th of January, meaning that we'll get some more clarity about what his mission is. But he's coming into the heart of the sun around the 6th, 7th of January. And then January 8th, he trines that hot spot in the sky. So going back to December 17th and January 8th may connect. Mercury and Uranus could be sudden, unexpected, shocking news. But retrograde, old news that returns, that shocks us all again. And then later on, January 29th, or market turbulence, stock market turbulence. And then on January 29th, at the end of the month, there's the last at 16 Taurus, 16 Cap, Mercury direct, okay, trining Uranus again. So 3-part shock and awe, 3-part exhilarating news, 3-part radical information, exciting discovery or invention, things that are going on for the collective. And your own sky is going to be more individual. We'll get to that in a minute, but I'm just trying to parse the big picture. One of my favorite things about this month, besides Mars moving direct in Gemini, because he has been in Gemini since August 20th and leaves on March 23rd, that is itself exceedingly rare. It's doubtful in your lifetime this will happen again. And it's doubtful it ever did happen. Sure, Mars retrogrades in Gemini every 2 years, or goes into Gemini every 2 years, not necessarily retrogrades, but this is like prolonged stay in one sign. So everything to do with Twitter. What is Gemini? Talk, chat, ideas. Gemini is classic Twitter land. In fact, the air signs are all about birds as well. There's a little birdie image for Twitter. So all of the conflict at Twitter land is emblematic, and Musk takeover, and then Musk disrupting and firing. Oh, that's Mars energy. And Mars retrograding in Gemini meant that Twitter, you see, Elon wanted to take over Twitter and buy it way back when, and then he changed his mind. But then when Mars retrograded in Mercury's sign in Gemini, then Elon came back and said, "Oh, I changed my mind again." Change of mind, change of direction. I want to buy Twitter and then take over and clean it up. So there's no censorship. In fact, those censorship stories, those are shock and awe Mercury stories are already coming out, but we're in such a stagnant place with no direct motion plan is no one knows what to do about it. Like, what do you mean the government told Twitter what it could and couldn't publish? Isn't that a First Amendment USA violation? What's going on here? What about all the people who were banned from Twitter for misinformation that later turned out to be true, according to science? So, and they got reinstated, a lot of them by Elon Musk, but things could still be coming out of that story, because where Mars is in Gemini doesn't just mean word wars. It means actually wars between brothers. Gemini is the twins, or wars between neighbors, or wars between two humans, because it's a human sign. Gemini is the human twins. And therefore, as Mars has been retrograding way back since October 30th and still going backwards until, remember the date, January 12th, this has really quagmired any kind of potential resolution regarding the conflict in Ukraine, or Taiwan, China. But there's a possibility that there's some kind of secret deals or negotiations trying to be cobbled out that we're not aware of behind the scenes in any of these areas during that time. So that's the hopeful part of it. Maybe there's some diplomatic back channels going or something like that. I mean, Vladimir Putin just came out and said that, the United States doesn't want peace, and we're offering it on the table. And yeah, so we'll see what happens with all of this. Now, I'm recording on December 29th, a bit behind it this month. Now, the other thing is that when Mercury goes direct on January 18th, right, he becomes visible on the 12th, you could expect some big news stories to show up. Oh, hang on a sec. I thought there was somebody at the door, and was like the dryer is spinning, I think, and it knocked off something on top of the dryer. All right, so get the idea here. Big news stories, but a lot of Venus love, Venus, my favorite part of this month. Venus will be in Aquarius for a long time, which is just fine. She's a neutral dignity. She will square Uranus and hit that hot spot and wake it up in the sky again, where we had all that big boom intensity last week of July, first week of August. The full story never known until everything unfolds over the next 15 years, a new era for humanity, connected to the theme of that conjunction between the North Node and Uranus and Taurus. And so that conjunction happens every 15 years, by the way. It last happened in March 7th of 2007. And so now it was a Pisces. And now the whole story for 15 years, and that synodic cycle for the world, it's nothing to do with Pisces. It has to do with Taurus, which is earth, money, currency, stability. Okay. But yeah, and then Venus too. I wanted to say in general, I love that Venus will be in Aquarius, because I'm an Aquarius rising. I'm going to finally get my hair cut and maybe get my nails done. It's good for Aquarius risings to get their beauty done up. But the other thing is that then later on, around the 26th of January, she slides into her exaltation sign of Pisces. And the last, week of the month of January looks really luscious because of that new dignity that Venus will carry. And she'll be in her strength there. And we'll get a sense of the yay moment of this kind of lovely Venus lush up energy in the last few days of the month. So we're going to talk about, and she's in Aquarius, just FYI, around January 2nd. So we're going to talk about your sign. And we're going to start with Aries. And I got this new dealio where I'm going to give you a backdrop that shows you the sign. So if people ask me in the chat or whatever, which sign are we on, you'll see. We're going to start with Aries. And so Aries, we're going to start with you. It's always best to listen for your rising sign. That's going to be the more specifically accurate circumstantially. And then you can listen for your sun and moon secondarily. Sun can be about career, moon can be about home and safety needs and emotional set points. And maybe moon can be about mom and sun can be about dad. Okay. Or father figures, mother figures. So one of the things I want to talk about is Mars. I'm not going to give you everything that's going to happen this month. We're doing a little shorter video, but for you, you're Mars ruled, and having Mars retrograde for every Aries, sun, moon, and especially rising always feels like a challenge. You may be moving forward in life, chopping wood, carrying water, getting done what needs to be done. But deep beneath the surface of that, you have a sense that you're not on your game the way you normally are. So this has been happening since the 30th of October, yet Mars in his retrogradation through the Gemini part of your sky wasn't just wasting your time. So that's why I want to say, because what is he, some kind of like time wasting problem child? No, but he retrogrades his retrogradation was in your third house. And this has to do with trips and travel, skills-based learning and teaching and siblings. Now, it can be just a very practical thing. Like for me as an Aries, sun and moon, I ended up reteaching a course I taught before. Mars goes backward. We do something in teaching and learning we've done before. It's just a redo. But also it could be like, going back to travel to a place you've been before, which I did, but also a feeling that things to do with travel, things to do with siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, and all of that third house stuff, skills-based learning, writing are troublesome. Like you're just not getting the full juice that you normally have here. In fact, I started to rewrite a novel that I started to write, 2 years ago as Mars started to retrograde in Gemini, because my third house is writing. It is for all Aries. And yet I couldn't get it really to fall into place. I need his direct emotion, his passion, and his enthusiasm. And so do you. So we're getting that hallelujah shift on January 12th. And that's going to up level a lot of energy for you, where you feel now you can take that trip, you can plan that trip, you can visit that sibling, you can connect your aunts, uncles, nieces, and nephews, so you can get your writing off the ground, you can get your website cleaned up, you can take that class you really want to take, you can teach that class you really need to teach, and things like that. So get ready for that exciting new activation for the Aries people. And this is a part of the sky too that is a goddess house called the house of the goddess. And so a lot of times things to do with the oracular arts, going for a divinatory reading. If you've been thinking of doing that, now Mars goes direct and you finally get your act together and get yourself on somebody's schedule, that kind of simplicity of interpretation. Now, because we're on the Mars story, right, I want to talk about his trine, or actually Venus is trine to him, because this is going to feel really nice for you. Venus in a trine to Mars is ease and flow and luck and opportunity around themes of decisions, actions, and plans you make from those decisions, as well as money, friendliness, and love. Now, Venus trining from Aquarius to Mars in your third house of Gemini will be happening on the January 9th timeframe. Mars at this point on the 9th of January is still retrograde. So I would say it's kind of like he's going backward and Venus is applying to him and they're moving toward each other, which is kind of cool. So it could be very literal. Mars retrograde in your third house and Venus applying from the house of friendship, the 11th, can mean that an old friend is coming towards you, or you're getting in touch with an old friend with a potential for romance or love. It's almost like something from the past is coming back at you. Old friend, old love story, old dream, vision, and goal for your life, etc. And as they're coming toward each other, okay, they're going to be building up in the few days before January 9th. Then Mars stations direct, and now he's going to take this kind of meeting in a trine with Venus on the 9th, having a really good conversation, and I'm going to move forward with it. He's going to do something with it in your third house. So for example, this could be an old friend coming to visit you, or a plan for an old friend to visit you, a plan for an old friend, lover, friend with benefit to come visit you, a passionate connection with somebody at a distance, maybe coming into your life again at more proximity. So these are ways it could parse, or things to do with siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews, trips and travel. Eldest sibling is where Venus is sitting. If you're listening as an Aries and you have an eldest sibling, it could be about them as well. But all said and done, it can also be really good for your finances. Venus is a money goddess and a house of great gains, and you may have some kind of new money momentum percolating out of the January 9th trine between Mars and Venus. And if that's the case, some of that money, because Mars is in your third house, could come from something in your local neighborhood. The third house can be the stores, the shops, the local environment, the places that are close to where you live. And the last thing I want to say is that Venus will square Uranus. I mean, I'm not doing everything for everyone on January 15th, but I do think that's an important one for all signs that I want to bring into the story. Remember I talked about the hot spot in the sky and how Mercury in the beginning intro, if you listen, was activating that on January, the dates for Mercury on January 8th and January 29th. Okay, well, this is also a Venus story. Venus will square Uranus on January the 15th. Now, January 15th, when this happens, it's going to be definitely a tenser energy. but it's going to be redolent, remember, of some things going on at the end of August, end of July, beginning of August, and summer of 22. But Venus is going to try to, even though she's a neutral Aquarian dignity, under the rulership of Saturn, who's sitting with her in the same sign, she kind of has to follow his orders. And Saturn was squaring Uranus all through 2022. You're going to find that this is going to be a lasting, enduring result to some area of your life connected to your money. And for most Aries, this is going to be a pivotal turning point of great importance. It could even affect you 15 years later. So look for some money turning points in the story of you, starting with that Venus square Uranus in the middle of January. At first, it could seem disruptive because it's a square, and those are the nature of Mars, which can involve disruption or conflict or endings or severing. Okay, but you may be severing or ending from a friend, an eldest sibling, a dream or goal you had for your career, or an earning strategy that no longer works for you. And with Lord Saturn there holding fort, now moving direct and there until March the 7th, whatever you come up with, whatever you concoct as an enduring new, stable, lasting monetary, great gains from career strategy, it's going to be worth it because it will go a long way in your life. So be proactive around that time and understand the sky is trying to favor you. Anything else I want to mention for you guys? Because again, I'm picking and choosing some of the highlights. It is kind of a quiet time out in the sky between January 10th and the 13th, which is lovely. And I'm not going to cover the moons in this video because I do every moon full and new every month. So that's why you should subscribe, because there's going to be in-depth content for each sign. Often those videos are about 2 hours, up to an hour and a half to 2 hours sometimes, but you might just want to tune in for that instead. And those are the sweetest things I have to say to you guys. I'm just looking for the highlights, the proactive spaces. Certainly when Mercury moves direct and, is no longer retrograding in Capricorn, some of your career story will take off. You've been backpedaling in your career, holding water, treading water, running in place kind of thing. And that's been true maybe since he stationed retrograde on December the 29th. And then on January 18th or so, when he starts to move forward here, you go forward with him. And so don't feel stuck or despairing if career objectives or career path or purpose path or things you do in the world and you're seen doing are stalled out a little bit. After he goes direct, he'll make sure that what you're doing is right for you, because he will be in that Kazemi around the 7th of January. Remember, goes into the heart of the sun to get new mission instructions from the divine so that he can, by the 12th of January, give you what you need to know in order to move forward as he becomes once again visible in the sky. And he'll be doing that as a morning star in the early morning hours. We could see him once again. All right, thanks, Aries. We are moving forward, and I'll put us on to the Taurus. Hello, Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign people. Guess what? And your rising is the most accurate. This is a very Venusian month, and Venus is the ruler of your sign. And in that sense, you're going to feel as a Taurus, things are beginning to move in a direction and feel better for you, a lot better than they have been in recent months. And in fact, the idea even of wealth or riches or deep transformation, especially in the area of love, could be really showing up for you around January 1st when Venus connects with Pluto. And this is her last Pluto connection in your lifetime, because she is moving, Pluto is moving out of Capricorn, and they've been meeting together every year around the same time, November through January, in Capricorn since 2009. It keeps waking up a story in your life as a Venus ruled individual, because Venus is the ruler of the sign of Taurus. And it's the story that's been waking up is your 9th house stories. Things to do with your spiritual beliefs, your faith, your trust in God, a divine plan, a sense of purpose and meaning to your life. Things to do with also foreign lands and travel, higher education, course, and book publishing can also be up here. But beneath that all, it's the house of God. And Venus, the goddess of love, moving through the house of God, connecting to Pluto, the god of the underworld, is a very intense yearly story that you've been going through since 2009, maybe looking for deep meaning. because in Vedic astrology, the ninth house is the house of the father. Well, then also deep meaning regarding your connection to father and father figures. This is coming to, though, an ending. And this is a last pass. So on January, literally New Year's Eve and then January 1st, you're in the thick of it. Now, I will caution you on New Year's Eve, because this energy is intense, that with Venus Pluto here, this is not your time to go to a bar without a sidekick friend, especially if you're a woman, and get roofied or something. This is not a good time to really go for it in terms of a wild rave in which you take more Molly or drugs than you've ever done before. This is not a good time for that kind of behavior, because Pluto Venus can take you down a darker road of the dark stories of, the Plutonian myth, to do with Pluto raping Persephone, to do with things to do with forbidden topics or obsessive compulsive sexual energy, all of this stuff. So warning, forewarned is forearmed, as a Taurus sun, moon, and rising, to please take it pretty easy, especially Taurus rising New Year's Eve. But you may wake up in the dawn of January 1st with some new sense of power, new sense of clarity around your values, a new sense of belief in a higher power, a new transformed sense, like a chrysalis, caterpillar, butterfly, of who you're meant to be in this world. This is not a small deal. Yes, Venus Pluto is a relatively regular transit, but it's the last, every year, it's the last time in Capricorn for your lifetime. And Venus Pluto in the ninth house is in an earth sign, trining your identity, trining your body, holding up a positive flow energy, the nature of Jupiter, to you. On a practical note, it can be good opportunities that are very powerful emerging in the early part of January in academics, foreign lands and travel, court and legal matters, especially regarding money and courts. Okay, things could be working out for you at that time. Venus is doing a lot of other beautiful things for the Tauruses of the world. She's going to sextile Jupiter as well on January 3rd and 4th, after she's having her powwow with Pluto. Now, Jupiter is a god of luck and opportunity. That's his gig anyway, right? That's what he does. And then Venus also brings those kinds of blessings. And the two of them, Venus will now be in Aquarius after January 2nd, and Jupiter in the very early degrees of Aries, like 0, will be in a flow. Venus is an evening star. It's her soft, demure, and most sensual actions of herself. She's more in her beneficence and less in her warrior mode as a morning star. So some soft, beautiful, soft glow up energy around January 3rd and 4th, as Venus in the sign of Aquarius, which is your career and reputation zone, sends beams of positivity and support to Jupiter in Aries, and that's your 12th house. So backroom deals, behind the scenes things connected to your career or your reputation could be ongoing, and Jupiter could be like a power broker behind the scenes, or a teacher guide behind the scenes, helping you define something positive in you in your career. And with Venus in your career house from January 2nd to the 26th, career and reputation, like my daughter's a Taurus sun as a student, this is a time of great positivity and promotion and raises and success and visibility in a good way regarding your career, reputation, and what you do in the world themes. Okay, you also may benefit in career structures like hierarchies from women in power during that time. And with Saturn here, you could definitely go for some kind of, well, one thing, you could fall in love with somebody at work who's older, or you could fall in love with the boss, but if it's, and have a secret backroom story. But Taurus, if that's not what it is, Venus and Saturn can bring enduring love, lasting love, love that crosses the finish line, but maybe it's love in a career path or love in a purpose path. It doesn't have to all be about sexual love, right? Venus squares Uranus on January the 15th, and that is going to be picking up a hot spot in the sky that you felt at the end of July and the beginning of August with Uranus in the middle degrees of Taurus. And the hot spot was very intense then, as a North Node and Uranus co-joined there along with Mars. Now, there's a signature here for Venus squaring Uranus, which is that she's a benefic and she tries to bring good things. And a square yet is a difficult energy of conflict or combat or upset or, crisis energy, action and crisis action energy. And Uranus is about the unexpected, the unpredictable, little shock and awe. And so where this could show up for a Taurus is there could be a very intense energy going from on January 15th, give or take a few days, the place of your work and career and reputation and your identity. Now, if there is an upset here, I don't know, someone badmouths you at work, you get fired, or someone in the workplace gets fired, and all of that, it ultimately is going to benefit you. Ultimately, because this is the Lord of your sky doing what's needed for you in order to benefit you. So try to take a few deep breaths around January 15th and not get obsessed with woe is me, calamity, why me. If that's a why me story, just reframe it and say something like, everything happens for me, not to me. Okay. Cliche, but true. I'm pondering. I mean, it's all about your identity. Ultimately, what Venus is trying to do is help you create a truer alignment between a pleasurable life purpose and direction and who you really are. So follow the lead, let her guide you. She is your benefic sect. With Mars finally going direct in your second house of earnings, maybe you've been really feeling constrained and constricted around money. Maybe you've been spending a lot more than you wanted to as he was retrograding here. He was acting in ways that you weren't pleased. He was out of bounds. You may have had some big purchases from October 30th as he retrograded in your second house of earnings, spending, and possessions. And now he goes direct. And this is going to feel like some kind of new action that you can take to consolidate your money story. But also the second house, Taurus, is things you put in your mouth. And that includes wine, cigarettes, vapes, whatever bad things and good things you stick in that mouth. You can change your diet style because Mars going direct gives you a new mission, purpose, and focus. But also he was retrograding. So you may be going back over some old thoughts about quitting that alcohol or that wine or the vape, or going back and re-looking at your diet, or looking at vitamin supplements because you put those in your mouth. And so there's this backwards motion. The throat and the face are connected often to the second house. So you may have gone back over some things to do with your appearance, and you may be working on that through dietary means, or just an example. But I certainly will say, when he goes direct on January 12th, and he will be at 8 degrees for a dog's age, right? January 1st to the 23rd. A lot of you are going to be able to really clean up some kind of bad habit. Now, I know a lot of Tauruses who are all promising a dry January. I'm not drinking in January. It's a dry month. So that's a perfect example of January 12th. But I say that maybe you have a wobbly start. And then on January 12th, it's like off to the races. I got this, you got this. And, maybe I won't go just dry January. Maybe I'll do dry February, March, and April. Super momentum in that kind of vices cleanup with Mars in this part of your sky. But also at the same time, greater earnings, more momentum, more speed, more choices and actions regarding earnings and getting more money into your life by whatever means Mars deems is appropriate. All right, so this was a kind of a teaser, but I will finish with a Venus moving into Pisces, because I'll be doing a lot of videos this month. If you're in the live premiere, hit my like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, why not? You'll get notified when I go live. I had a flash contest today, and we had my 4th flash contest winner in the last month. I love doing these. All you have to do is be on notifications, and when I go into a live premiere, you're there and you're in the contest. And a new person that I don't know before won today. What was that channel's name, which is really cool? Well, I've seen them before. Mad Hippie, something with Mad Hippie in it. But it's kind of fun to give away readings to people who are showing up regularly in my channel. And that sometimes is what happens in these live chats. Anyway, moving on. Venus in Pisces for you is always a good thing. It happens once a year. It says January 26th to February 20th. So the last parts of the month, you feel the flow of Venus in your 11th house. This is going to open up more enjoyment of friendship circles and groups of belonging, a real sense of joy and enjoyment of people's company, maybe establish a new friendship or deepen an existing one, and bring more money to you from your career. She can allow for the gains of your career, whether it's your monetary, your reputation, your promotional energy, to increase. And with Saturn in your 10th, some of you will get a raise or a promotion, and you'll move up to a new level of power and authority. My daughter is a Taurus sun, and I always think she should have been a manager where she works. She's so on the ball. So when she's not being a student, that is. Okay, so those are examples. And certainly Venus in the 11th can open up some great gains from your reputation going in a new direction as well, because of the action of Mars moving forward and in a whole sign trine to your 10th house. All right, that's it, Taurus. I hope that's a helpful teaser for 2023. Those are some basic, January 23, those are some basic highlights for you. Now we're going to move on to the next sign. Hey Gemini, 2023 January. And this is best for the rising sign, but you can also listen for your sun and your moon. So I talked earlier in the video about this being a very strong month for the Venus story, but it's also a really strong month for the Mercury story, and Mercury's your ruler. So let's focus there to start. Why? Mercury is finally moving direct after being retrograde since December 29th. And in the middle of the month, around the 18th, he goes forward. But this is some action he's doing for you as he moves forward around January 18th in relationship to the Capricorn sky, which is your money house. I call it the chunky money house. It's your 8th house in whole sign house astrology. What is the story that's finally going to go forward that has started to be like engineered by Mercury to do with inheritance? Well, first of all, starting on December 6th and doesn't really complete until February 11th. But this is money to do with mortgages, bank loans, taxes, inheritances, business partner monies, investments in the market, stock markets, equities, things to do with your spouse and their money and your jointly shared resources. And all of a sudden on the 18th, wherever you were going between the 29th or so and the December and the 18th, you were going back over old territory. This is so many ways this could have looked: going back over your 401k, going back over your retirement plan, going back over your investment strategies, going back over your inheritance monies, going back, re-looking at it, reinvestigating it. You had to do it over. You had to check the details. Maybe you had to do it again. There's some backpedaling there. Sometimes when Mercury's in the 8th house, secrets get spilled. He's a gossip. Talk, and 8th house is secrets, especially family secrets. So old secrets from the past may have been resurrected, or information about the past that you didn't know in your family of origin may have been coming through that story. Certainly would have been an interesting time if you're into talking to the dad, because spirits of the dad, 8th house, Mercury communication, retrograde, someone from the past talking to the dad, making up stories. If you're into the occult mysteries, things to do with lost knowledge and wisdom, this is something that Mercury likes to do here. He's also very prone to playing the role of the philosopher priest, the sage-like advisor to kings and queens here. But in your case, it could also be that he's like, you could have consulted somebody. You might have gone to a psychic when he was retrograding, or a reader, or some kind of advisor, but in the mystical arts, right? Or you could have started researching and studying something in that area. Anyway, good news, goes direct on January the 18th. And also in regards to Mercury, early in the month, around the 6th and 7th, on the 7th in particular, he meets with the sun, goes into the heart of the sun. It's called Kazemi. And when he does that, he's going to get born again and find a new mission for you. And he does this about 6 times a year in different signs and different places. And this is your 8th house. So there's a death and birth archetype of the mercantile markets, Mercury, merchandising, selling, communicating ideas and money. And he won't be really fully visible till around the 12th or 13th of January. So it means that even though he gets born again and gives you a reset button in money, you may not see the results of that reset until around after, I'd say, the 12th or 13th of January. Now, Mercury, the lord of your sky, is also trining Uranus. And he's doing a 3-part trine because of the retrograde. So you'll have to go back in time to December 17th, when he was trining Uranus at 15 degrees of Capricorn to 15 degrees of Taurus. Certainly the Taurus part of your sky is hot, because that's where the end of July, beginning of August, we had the North Node conjunct with Uranus around those same degrees. But because the 12th house is a hidden house, meaning you can't see it directly from where you sit in your 1st house, there may be things going on outside of your vision that you don't know about. They can be backroom deals and negotiations. They can be things to do with hospitals, incarcerations, and insane asylums, or your own self-sabotaging patterns and habits and karmic stuff, the junk in your trunk. And there's a deep cleaning going on in here, right? Because of this energy of Uranus North Node meeting here in a 15-year synodic cycle. So, you're not going to get this again in your lifetime, actually. So bottom line is that starting in the early part of August 22, you're getting a reset. For some of you, this can lead to enlightenment-y stuff. You're going to study with a teacher. You're going to find the meaning of life. You're going to dig into the soul. You're going to figure out your past lives and that kind of thing. But there's some replay here. Something else is connecting the dots from the past here. So look to December 17th for the first direct pass of Mercury and try to connect it to January 8th. That's when Mercury, just coming out of the heart of the sun in a very deep, deep, dark house of the 8th as well, very occult mysteries, very paranormal, very spiritual, very magical. And Mercury can be the magician. There can be some serious spiritual magic happening around January the 8th. I encourage all Geminis to do a meditation on the 7th. While Mercury is in the heart of the sun, people are known to have eurekas and downloads and new insights and epiphanies during these Mercury with the sun events. And then January 29th, Mercury finishes up as he goes direct and will trine Uranus yet again, this time at Uranus and Mercury at 16 degrees. This energy looks to me a lot like, because it's finalizing something. If you go back to the last week of July and the first week of August in 2022, you may be able to see that Mercury is putting finishing touches on sea changes, big shifts in your inner life, spiritual life. Things to do with foreign lands and travel, money, investments, inheritances, shared resources with a spouse. These things are changing. So January 29th is his last trine. And then he leaves Capricorn on February the 6th, and he's no longer working on your money story. And so keep that in mind. Now, we talked about Mercury a lot because why? Mercury is the Lord of you. But I would like to mention that Mars going direct is important because it's in the sign of you. You've been having Mars in your house, in your space, in your face since August the 20th. It's not like it's a ball of, ease here. You may have had injuries. You may have burned yourself, cut yourself since August 20th. You may have had surgeries, accidents. You may also change direction. You may have also gotten more precise, more focused, but also when you started to retrograde. So August 20th to the 30th of October, you might have felt good about it. But then the 30th of October, he's going backwards, making him very strong because he's close to Earth, very powerful because he's close to Earth, and also backward. So things are not moving in a forward direction, but your decision-making process, starting on the 30th of October, all the way through until January 12th, has been important. You may have been weighing your pros and cons, looking at your options. Geminis are mutable. They have a hard time with making decisions sometimes. They like to change your mind a bit, flexible, adaptable energy. But now you're being called forth by Mars around January 12th onward until March the 25th to move forward, to bravely, boldly make that decision, take that action plan, to stride forth in some area of your life that you've been mulling over inwardly since the retrograde started at the end of October. One thing I'll say for sure, you've got momentum after January 12th, but you are your own momentum maker. It's your choices, your actions, your decisions, your passions. All right. You may also be very aggressive towards your primary partner over there in the Sagittarius corner because Mars makes you more combative and you're looking across at your marriage and business partners. You will not suffer fools gladly, including those people. But if you're not, arguing with them or telling them what you really think, with strong, harsh Martian words, putting down firm, hard boundaries with someone like a business lover client, then you are also just making strides and you're going forward full bore. This is your time to leap forward. This was a once in a lifetime 7 months that Mars was in your sign. And it's especially true for the rising. That's what I'm always telling you. For the sun in Gemini people, it could be about your dad. The moon in Gemini could be about your mom. All this stuff I've said, really not so much your story. So keep it in mind that you are the ascendant in the chart. That is your point of access to reality. And I think I want to mention what was jumping out at me for you. Is far down the road, but I like it, right? Venus is going to ingress into your 10th house at the end of the month on the 26th of January. And when she moves into your 10th house, it's a career glow up. It's a reputation love up. And she's going to be there for a few weeks, right? So this gives you a nice, long, luscious time of Venus moving through that part of your sky until February 20th. So get ready for some kind of blow up and really good energy to hit you in your reputation and career zone, starting down the pipeline at the end of January. And certainly, I think that's all I have to say. And we're going to move to the next sign. I'm just trying to highlight, as you can tell, for everybody, the things that I think are the most germane and most significant for your sign based on rulership. Did I cover everything? I'm just looking at one more option. Give me a minute. Mercury on December the 29th, 30th will trine Uranus at 1 degree Capricorn. Did I mention this already? Oh, I did. I already covered that. Okay, we're done. Moving to the next sign. Hello, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. Well, you are in for an interesting month with some serious love from Venus as the month closes up, which is going to give you a whole new sense of ease and joy in your life. But you are also in a month in which other things are impacting you in a particularly auspicious way. So first of all, let me say one thing about Cancer rising people in general. You have been working your way like a plane on a runway, getting ready for takeoff to really propel yourself to a new level of career success over the last few months. And that's because you've had Jupiter, in and out of Pisces throughout 2022. And he just was there again. That's your ninth house. Your ninth house is behind the scenes runway for career success. It's where you get the education for your career. It's where you do the preparation for the stage curtains to open. And then, like the 28th of October to December the 20th, we had Jupiter also in your ninth house again. And even though last year from May 10th or 11th to October the 28th, we did have Aries, Jupiter going through Aries, you barely got a taste of it. You barely got a flavor of it. It was hardly anything. Only for the Cancers, 0 rising, especially 0 to 10 degrees, did you maybe feel a sense of momentum and uplift and progress and luck in your career and reputation zone, purpose as well. Now, what I want to say is that Jupiter is back. And I love this in the month of January for you. First of all, he's moving really slowly. So he's going to be in the January, kind of in those early degrees of your 10th house. And he's going to be kind of hitting some nice contact points for your up level in your career as he makes some positive stories with Venus. Now, Venus and Jupiter are both benefics, and they both bring love and good things and kindness and luck and opportunity. And around January 3rd and 4th, what you'll have is that you'll have Venus and Aquarius moving into a sextile, right? A flow energy applying toward Jupiter in Aries. And this is a money story to do with purpose and career and reputation. There is something positive happening in your back end with your spousal resources, with your inheritance money, with your taxes, with your credit card debts, with your investment strategies. It's going to either support your career or lucky opportunities in your career are supporting your finances. And this is early in January, around the 3rd and the 4th of the month. You are off to the races of money, career developments that look very, very positive for you. And we love that Venus is playing that role. Just before that happens, she'll be on New Year's Day, conjunct Pluto at the tail end of your 7th house of marriage and business partnerships. This is her last such pass with Pluto, and she won't do this again, Cancer rising especially. She won't do this again in your lifetime. So she started in 2009 meeting with Pluto in your marriage house, and it could indicate that you've had to go through some true death and rebirth moments in your primary significant love stories, plural, because you may have gone through more than one since 2008 when Pluto entered there, and then later 2009 when Venus started joining him. That's about to end. So I want to mention that narrative comes to a big, big crescendo and an end on New Year's Eve. Be careful on New Year's Eve, because Pluto Venus in the 7th house can be being in a situation with a Pluto Venus person on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. It could be really difficult, because Pluto Venus can be also the shadow side, like I hate to say it, it's kind of rapey, you know what I mean? It's kind of abduction-y, it's kind of, you know, being lied to, betrayed, and or fatal attraction. So, I mean, I'm going to caution you not to go randomly to a club and not bring a sidekick or some weird thing like that, a female friend to watch over each of your drinks and things like that. So the other thing that's happening in this month that is, I think, relative to you and well, everything's relative to everybody, but it could be one of the happier stories is that Mars will move into direct motion. And this is a kind of completion of a long story that started on August the 20th, 2022, that ends on March the 25th. Of 2023, where Mars has been trying to help you clean up your act in your own psyche, your soul, your past lives, your addictions, your bad habits, your self-sabotage. A lot of Cancer or things to do with foreign lands and foreign shores as well. And maybe even take great bold strides and actions to learn new things that you need to learn or to travel to those foreign places you know that you need to go to. But it's coming to an end. It's kind of a subtle and spiritual thing. And it's like he's got a sword or a knife or a pair of scissors in a very richly spiritual house, and it's a moksha house. And so he will cut away, you know, master, how do you carve the perfect elephant every time? Says a student to the master carver. And the master carver says, I carve away all that is not elephant. So Mars is carving all away all that isn't really good for you. Your addictions, your self-beliefs and sabotage about your life, your karma, you're burning off karma. But he's got a sharp pair of swords, scissors. It's a karma scissor cut up, all right? And it's going to go direct Mars on January 12th, and that'll allow you to actually take the learning of the retrograde that started October 30th and apply it liberally to your real life story. Because ultimately on the 25th of March, Mars will move into the house of you, and you'll begin to act on some of this deep soul work and spiritual re-identification of your self that you've been going through since he began that journey. Anything else I want to tell you? I'm looking at all my notes for January on my cheat sheet here. I feel like I might be done with you already, and I feel like I ripped you off. Well, let's just say this. Mercury will do a 3-part trine to Uranus in your 11th house from Capricorn, your 7th. This may be about your marriage partner, your clients, or your business partner, or your audience outreach, if that makes sense to you, that you have an audience or a marketplace to reach out to. Mercury began that 3-part story December 17th, reoccurs on January 8th, and finishes up on January 29th. And the middle one is retrograde, and Mercury is deeply invisible under the beams of the sun. So a lot of what I'm about to say here will have to be qualified that you're not likely to understand the full momentum and meaning of any of this until after Mercury becomes a visible planet around the 12th, 13th, 14th of the month of January. But the January 8th Kazemi is Mercury in the heart of the sun in the house of significant others. This could be a big reset and a rebirth for your marriage partner, business partner, or some significant person in your life. And somehow it connects to your house of good spirit. And your house of good spirit is a positive place where you're experiencing a lot of dramatic change in your groups of friendships, your friendship circles, and your longer range goals and dreams and plans for your life. So stay tuned for some maybe big developments in your marriage house over the course of January, but they're mostly positive. Thank you for listening, Cancer, and let's move to the next sign. Hello, Leo, sun, moon, but most accurate is your rising sign. Welcome. And by the way, if you're in the chat room, chat box live premiere with me, please don't forget to hit my like button. Thank you. And subscribe as well. Thanks. It helps the channel grow, helps me stay in business, helps me keep creating this great content for you guys. So Leo, sun, moon, and especially rising sign. Okay, every sign is getting a different start point. Okay, just telling you. So for you, we're going to focus on the sun, what it's up to this month, because it's making some interesting contacts with Uranus. And we're also going to talk about the Jupiter story, because Jupiter will be in a fire trine in the most of December and January in such a luscious way to your sign now that he's moving direct. So let's start off with Jupiter because it's such a nice story. Jupiter moved direct out of his retrograde motion and started moving forward. My brain. Okay. is coming back online. I can't remember. I think it was November 24th, but he was doing that forward momentum from Pisces, which is your 8th house of money that doesn't belong to you, savings and stuff like that. Well, the point is that on December 20th, he returned to your 9th house, and he was there in your 9th house from the first week of May, 2023, until the very last week, basically, of October 28th. So you got a foreshadow and a light taste, a kind of teaser touch of what Jupiter wants you to be doing here. This is a very important placement for spirituality, for winning at legal matters and trials, for foreign lands and foreign travel, for connecting to a father or father figure, 9th house. It's also good for book publishing, and it's also good for academia, studying and learning. And I say travel and visas? Yeah. Now, Jupiter coming through this part of your sky in January is going to receive a bit of love from another benefic planet. Her name is Venus, in the house of other people, legal contracts and negotiations, significant others, marriage partners, those crew of your 7th house. This is happening on that 3rd and 4th of January, and it may look very much like some positive support from a significant other, giving you new momentum regarding travel, foreign shores, and all those other academia, and also court and legal matters. Jupiter will help you win if you're a Leo rising and you need to win the day in a court situation. Now, because Jupiter spent a year in your 8th house, some of you were bequeathed money or had an inheritance come to you over the last year and a half before this. And so this is now maybe the final touches, the judges, the last deals you need to talk about with lawyers and mediation if this thing went into contest or probate. But Jupiter in your 9th house as a Leo rising is positive for your momentum, success, and winning, especially when it comes to legal matters that involve judges or courts. Now, the other thing is that Jupiter up here, moving forward, he'll be there until literally middle of May. And so this is like a time to proactively bust out, go big or go home, push all of your boundaries, especially when it comes to even your spiritual beliefs. Sometimes a spiritual teacher, especially with Chiron up there, shaman, guide, or mentor, life coach of some significance can enter the life of Leos. Someone who's really not just like a mentor energy or a soul coach or a real spiritual guide. So look for that to show up. It wasn't available fully yet because Jupiter has to meet with Chiron. That's not going to happen till later on in March, but you're already getting that new momentum of maybe there's a course of study that's right for you. Maybe there's a mentor or a teacher that you're meant to be with. Maybe there's some force of guidance coming into your story, and you'll begin to feel the momentum in the month of January. Now, the sun is the ruler of your sign because you're a Leo, and the sun is, of course, on a regular rhythm, a circuit through the sky. But there's a couple moments revolving around solar activity, the sun itself, that I quite like. And one of them is on January 13th, when the sun will sextile Neptune. Now, January 13th, 14th kind of thing, around that time, so give or take a couple of days on either side, the sun will make a flowing lucky aspect to Neptune from your 6th house of leases, tenants, renting, pets, debt relief, karmic debt, dating, things that 6th house things, service, work, and health. So the sun moving in this part of your sky, sextiling Neptune in your 8th house, could bring quite a high level, dreamy, imaginal uplift here. And especially when it comes to money or occult mystery matters. And when I say occult just means hidden, things that are hidden from view. A lot is hidden from our view, right? I mean, we don't see everything because we don't always use our third eye. So there could be a spiritual opening of your inner vision connected to your karma, your karmic debts. Pets belong to the 6th house, and there could be some developments regarding pets that's positive at this time as well. And the other thing I'd say is that Saturn is the ruler of where the sun is going through the Capricorn zone, and he's been busy for 2.5 years, 3 years almost, in your 7th house. But it may also be a time by default where there's some resolution in a long-term relationship that brings a sense of steadfast clarity, but maybe through the revelation of something you couldn't see, like a secret being revealed about a person that you've been with for a while, and the karmic debt is cleared. That's just a story, but for some Leos, it could be true. I'm looking at my cheat sheets here. There's certainly a chance for you in this month ahead with Mercury going direct on January 18th to break some new ground when it comes to your work life. If you are somebody that has been feeling since December 29th to 18th of January that you were going backward somehow, like overall ground in your work and work habits, and even the office or the work coworker space or the job, Mercury retrograde could bring a job from the past back to you, all right, for example. But the direct motion on January 18th means moving forward. So whatever you're doing now could be quietly backroom negotiations and deals, conversations had in the quiet secrecy of emails and no one knows about them. But you could have some positive new directionality and quite significant new career momentum as a Leo rising, especially, and Sun and Moon secondarily, starting January 18th through to February 11th. As Mercury completes his long 2-month tour of duty through that 6th house. And it looks exciting and feels exciting, especially because on New Year's Day, Venus and Pluto co-joined for the last time there since 2009. They've been doing it yearly, and it really is powering up your finances. So a lot of Leos are looking at like financial upgrades, basically, raises or something, promotions or new financial earnings opportunities through career. The reason I'm bringing up career is that Mercury on December 17th of 22, and then January 8th of 23, and then January 29th of 23 makes 3 passes at Uranus in your career house. Certainly, this is unexpected up levels in your career, changes in your career and reputation status, but they feel good because it's a trine and it's a positive thing. And if you go back to the last week of July, first week of August, some of these themes of career, work, money, habits, oh no, not habits, and your health, health and work things, I mean, like maybe you got to get out of a toxic work environment, something about your work environment doesn't really work for your body or for your health or something like that. And you're going to have a jumpstart opportunity to get out of it. So I'll give you an example. I know of a Leo woman, girl, friend of my daughter, who is works in the entertainment industry for the film industry, driving people around, and she ended up having some health problems with her tailbone back because of all the hours in her car, basically picking up people to the airport, driving people to set and stuff. I can see this looking like, for example, an upgrade to a new position within the industry, but one that's better for her body and better for her finances. So examples like that for all of you Leos, that's what I've got for you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, because during the month when big transits happen, I cover them all. I mean, I go into it in great depth for you. Did I miss anything? I probably did. The sun will trine Uranus, which is your dealio, and the sun will trine Uranus January 5th, the 6th. And the energy of this Uranus trine is going to open up. Well, first of all, let's talk about a trine. It's lucky in its own right? But when the sun is trining Uranus in your career house around the 5th or 6th of January, you definitely might have some sort of breakthrough in your career story. So I kind of went backwards. I started with the Sun Neptune in January 13th, 14th, but earlier in that, around the 5th and 6th of January, there's like an unexpected, surprising opportunity that's good for your health. May involve pets, but probably not, because it's really connecting to that 10th house of career. So look for that big breakthrough in career for you as a Leo rising, especially around the first week of January. Thanks for listening, guys. Normally I do a 20-minute video for every person, but today it's a holiday and I'm behind. So I'm behind because of the Christmas holidays. Next week, I'll go back to everyone gets their own video. Virgo, welcome to January 23. Lord Mercury, the ruler of your sign, is up to some interesting mischief that's going to work in your behalf during the month of January. Let's get into that. First of all, Mercury's going direct. This is good for you because when he goes direct, although we love when he's retrograde for the Virgos and Geminis because he's your guy and he's close to Earth and you get more synchronicity, magic, and miracles happening. But as he goes direct on January 18th, some area of your life, and in this case, your romantic sexual life, is going to move forward with great clarity. It can also be about your children and pregnancy and fertility, but things have forward momentum in your 5th house. Also, if you have your own business, your own company, your own entrepreneurial endeavor, this is also where things pick up steam and move forward. But this is a very special elemental Earth year for Mercury. I'll be putting a big long video with Gary Caton out soon on that. And it's like Mercury's really diving in and digging in and really hunkering into your 5th house energies. from December 6th to February 11th as he's machinating through your fifth. So it's like you get the glimmer of where things are going and where things are heading regarding those themes starting on January 18th. Now, you will notice that around January the 7th, Mercury disappears into the heart of the sun in your fifth house. This is an interesting time. This is Mercury getting deep soul wisdom and downloads from the sun, which represents divine intelligence, in your house of children, romance, romantic love, sexuality, independent business, and creativity. Like if you're, hear the muse speaking that day, but he won't be able to deliver what the muse has for you. It won't be able to give it to you, most likely, until he's visible around January 12th. So keep that in mind. I'll be right back. I got to turn something off. Hang on. I'm back. An appliance is okay. And so what I'll say is that I feel like okay, so first of all, why don't you manifest during the Cazimi? Okay, the Cazimi, Mercury in the heart of the sun on the 7th of the month of January. Mercury is the lord of your sign, and any planet moving through the fifth house gives you extraordinary manifestation abilities when it's the lord of your chart. In this case, it is. And so this is a time for you to put some visions into place and really see what you want to see, because eventually Mercury will come into a sextile with Neptune as things progress. And that's also going to highlight your ability to have strong visions about what you really want in significant relationships, marriage partners, and long-term lasting love. A lot of this for a lot of you is going to activate deeper wishes and dreams around love stories, whether you're single and looking for that love story, or you're in a relationship and you want to deepen it into something that brings you joy and fun and authentic pleasure. Okay. Now, Mercury is also doing something else that's fantastic. He's going to do trines, which are flow, to Uranus 3 times. That one is December 17th. Write these dates down, Virgo. December 17th, January 8th, and January 29th. These are important. This is your Lord. December 17th. He's making a forward pass at Uranus, and he's trying to get something off the ground. And where is Uranus? It's your money house, but not your earnings and paycheck. It's your investment, your credit card debts, your taxes, your mortgages, your 401ks, your business partners' money, and you share it, resources and money you share with your spouse, inheritances. Now you are having an inheritance transit. I have to say that Jupiter will move throughout all of January through to the second week of May in your 8th house, and some of you will get money through bequeathments during that time. But look at what Mercury's doing now. Mercury in this window of time. Now on January 8th, when he goes into the heart of the sun, right, he's concocting or deepening or pondering or, oh, I need to back this one up. Back up. Everything I said is right. Like Jupiter, a bequeathment transit, but I'm going back. Okay, I'm going back. He's squaring your 8th house. He's squaring your 8th house of other people's chunky money. It's been a long day before I started these recordings. Okay, so I apologize. Starting over on that. I'm not going to edit. I don't have time. So it's true that you're under a bequeathment transit, and with Mercury in your 5th house, it is connecting to your 8th by square. But let's talk about those dates of December 17th, January 8th, and January 29th are connected to your 9th house. And this is your education, campuses, colleges, universities, foreign lands, foreign travel, foreign shores, court cases, and book publishing, and father and father figures. So go back to December 17th, January 8th, and January 29th. Some of them are in the future, because connecting those 3 dots will be important for Virgos, because this is all one story in 3 acts. And when I say December 17th, give it a take a day on either side, please. But what unexpected developments are happening academically, with foreign lands, with father or father figures, with third marriages, maybe another way of seeing the 9th house, that are coming into a energy of very intense energy, with Mercury spending so much time working on this Uranian story. Uranus is surprises, unexpected developments, shock and awe. My daughter's a Virgo rising. She got an unexpectedly great grade, probably from a paper she turned in or a test she took around December 17th. So more of that's coming. More of this energy is being activated here as she moves into the new school year, for example. And then I think I want to finish with Mars because he's finally going direct in your career and reputation house. And if you've been feeling like a bit lost at sea around what you want to do when you grow up, or you've been feeling conflicted around which directions you want to take in your career, because Mars often cuts things off. And some of you, especially if your midheaven floats up there in the 10th house of Gemini, maybe getting ready to cut out, to quit that career path, to leave it behind, to exit stage left. And you may have not been sure because Mars was retrograding since October 30th. And so you were uncertain, although starting on August 20th, you begin to think, should I quit? Should I cut out? Is it time to end? Or do I want to move forward with renewed passion in this purpose career direction? Like if you're a student, your purpose is your career. Okay. It's not really like your day job, right? Your 10th house is more important than that. And then starting on, the direct motion January 12th, Mars starts to hustle his ass forward and give you this correctional energy. Like, this is the way to go. Go this way, go in this direction in those questions around your career. So momentum, ahoy, in that area of your life. It's wonderful actually to find that momentum showing up if you've been confused. And then I think I want to touch very lightly on one more theme, Venus. You've been having a Jupiter transit on and off, trying to up-level significant relationship, bring lasting partnership into your life to make the one you already have, love the one you're with, more important, go from dating to living in to getting engaged to marriage. Okay, that was been happening on and off for the last year. And then it was kind of up again for a review as Jupiter back-ended into the Pisces zone, but he left the Pisces zone on December 20th. Like he was there from, okay, honestly, my brain can't remember anymore, but he left on December 20th. I'll remember October 30th to December 20th. October 28th to December 20th, he was back in your marriage house. Now I want to talk about Venus because she's following up on what he was working on. So the 26th of January, Venus begins a journey into your 7th house of marriage and significant love relationships and clients and audience, if that's important to you. And when she does this movement into this new part of the sky, it's a very positive place for you. You see, she's in her exaltation sign and Jupiter was there before her and he's the owner of the house. He left it for her to clean up after him. And so, January, this 26th to February 20th, look for some solid developments in relationship and love and some real deeper commitments and a real sense of joy. Also, your partner could have some really positive things happen in their life and you'll be hearing about it as well. Before that, Venus is in Aquarius from January 2nd to 26th. This is really good for your health. If you've been struggling with health energies, especially health and beauty, but just health in general, or any kind of things going wrong and feeling like you've been coping with some health challenges, Venus will bonify, beautify, help you get over it, and also bring you greater pleasure and joy and fun and play in any work environment or daily work routines. So this is wonderful for you at this time. All right. Thanks for listening, Virgo. Don't forget, if you do subscribe to my channel, everything that's happening in the month, I do almost all the major transits for all signs. You'll get hold of them and we'll go into a lot more depth than I'm able to in this mini video today. Thanks for listening. And I'm going to move ahead to the next sign. Don't forget to hit my like button. Thank you. Hi, Libra, sun, moon, rising sign. This is a very Venus-rich month, and she's the Lord of your sign, just as she is for the Tauruses of the world. Let's talk about how she's going to bring you some really special moments in 2023, January. So first of all, Venus is going to start off January 1st. It's really New Year's Eve, the day after, conjunct Pluto. Okay, like it's intense, but you've been dealing with this Venus, Lord of your sign, joining with Pluto since 2009, as she's been meeting between November and January, varies every year, with Pluto in Capricorn. And this is a part of the sky that has a particular meaning for you based on whole sign houses. It's your home, it's your land, it's your real estate, it's your property, it's your mother, it's your family of origin, it's your ancestors. A lot of stuff down there. It's your domestic, private, quiet time at home. So you probably had some secret pleasures at home. You might have found your way through the world of forbidden pleasures at home. What forbidden pleasures have you been up to, Libra risings? But this is the last time in your lifetime that Pluto and Venus will meet here. And so it's a really important look at the whole story and the retrospective of what kinds of deep, profound power and wealth Pluto and Venus to do with land, home, and real estate have been ingurgitating through your sky over these years, but also things to do with pleasures and deep pleasures, forbidden pleasures, intimate pleasures, even with Pluto, Venus in the house of you. Now, you don't have to have a partner for this, right? This could be your own way of finding pleasure with substances, with yourself, with whatever that is. Now, there's a lot of healing going on for you in the month of January because Hygeia is healing something here as well. And so sometimes this Capricorn stellium that's like landed around the season of December, January in your fourth house, it puts you sometimes in a very home alone mode where you're focused on things to do with your private life. And there's something to be healed here. And there's some powerful finish point on January 1st. Now, Venus also is going to sextile Jupiter, and she's going to be in her luscious evening star, super delicious mode, very sensual, very positive, very feminine energy, as she throws her gaze upon Jupiter and sends him some love. And the two of them are both benefic. So what does it mean in your story? So Venus is moving through your romance, pleasure, fun, play, joy house. And every year you get her here once a year. And so you want to up-level your enjoyment of life. And she's flowing back over her shoulder a love trine to you, your body, your health, your sense of wellness. So in this case, what we're looking at is some kind of time between January 2nd and 26th, January 2nd and 26th, when she's going through your fifth house. But at the same time, early in the month, she casts her gaze lovingly on the 3rd and 4th of January to Jupiter. And Jupiter is in the early 0 degrees of your 7th house. There's no doubt about it. If you're a single Libra, this can bring in an amazing love story. Okay. So look for that in January. On the other hand, if you're with somebody already, this could be fertility and pregnancy. So Libra rising, especially sun and moon secondarily, watch out for that. And if you want a baby, great. And if you don't, Venus rules sperm and ovum. She's in a fertility house. Jupiter is the great sperminator in the house of a significant other. So one way or the other, some of you are having fertility stories going on in a positive way if you want a baby, and an unpositive, not so positive, you're surprised. Wouldn't be surprised if you're surprised with Uranus squaring your fertility house from the 8th house of the dead. Here goes Uncle Joe, who died in the war in 1812, coming back to reincarnate in your family system. Anyway, I love this Venus story. Venus will trine Mars as well, which is so beautiful on the 8th and 9th of January. Venus trining the god of war, the god of passion, the god of conflict, really soothes him and gets him to calm down. This is a flow of energy between your 5th house of sexuality, romance, and children to Mars in your 9th house of foreign lands, travel, book publishing. So for instance, if you're a Libra writing a book, this is positive momentum from Venus in the Muse house to Mars in the publishing industry house. This is also good for travel to a foreign land, to get away romantically for a trip, to academically succeed at something you're passionate about, to find yourself making a deeper connection to your spirituality in a way that brings you new directions and joy, all ways to parse 9th house, 5th house stories. And when this happens on the 8th and the 9th, Mars is still retrograde. So you're going to have to maybe wait until he goes direct on January 12th or so to feel this momentum about the themes I've just discussed. Venus will square Uranus on January 15th. Squares are often difficult energies, but Venus is a benefic. Uranus just brings surprises. There can be some unexpected money surprises. And this could look like a lottery win for some of you, casino, gaming, or something, because Venus is in the house of speculative wins from gaming and lotteries and games of chance. And she's squaring Uranus in the house of chunky money, especially from payouts from sources that aren't your paycheck. So there's some kind of exciting, but also maybe challenging time around January 5th for a lot of Libra sun, rising, and moon. When I talked about the pregnancy issue, it would be more true for the moon signs or the rising signs, FYI. But nonetheless, this could look like an exciting time with unexpected financial flow around the middle of the month for a lot of Libra people. When Venus moves into Pisces at the end of the month, it's always good for you. And that's going to be a health house for you as a Libra moon, sun, or rising. She'll exalt herself there. This is her VIP room where Jupiter loves her up. She'll be there starting on January 26th until February 20th. This can open up a huge amount of positive energy for you to do with improving your health. Also can move into new work situations, get the ideal pet, find yourself finding an ideal rental or tenant or tenancy issues. All of these things start to move in a really luscious way for you as Venus 26th of January begins to own up the space she's capable of in that sixth house. You can pay off financial debts, pay down loans, pay off mortgages as well when Venus is going through your sixth house. Jupiter moving through your seventh, all through the month of January through to mid-May, can definitely bring in a significant new love story and lots of legal contractual successes. And lastly, because Mars moves direct, and he's going to move direct on January 12th after being retrograde since October 30th in your ninth house, any forestalled plans to travel to foreign lands, any challenges around legal or court matters, or any issues to do with your father or father figures are going to resolve. And as Mars moves direct and book publishing, January 12th to the end of May, March 25th, this is where there's a lot of really passionate momentum and good directionality and clear directionality moving for you. And if you're an academic type person and you study in colleges or universities, this is also really good starting January 12th for super powered leapfrog springboards. Now, sometimes Mars ends things. So an ending with a father figure, an ending of an academic path or whatever, but whichever way it goes, Mars is doing what you need and for you, not to you. Alrighty. Thanks for listening, Libra. If you're in the live chat, please hit my like button. We're moving on to the next sign. You guys, I appreciate all of you, my regulars that come in a lot, L.A. Taylor and Misbehaving and Stephen the Jupiterian, One Wise Lady, Twisted Art Lady, One Rare Bird. I'm going to forget a lot of people. Kelly K, of course. Thank you for hanging out with me in the chat so often. Mercury with the Message. You guys are amazing. Some newbies like the Feral Writer has been showing up. The Mad Hippie person who just won the contest. Can't remember the whole name. Thanks for being there. Moving into the next story. Hi, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising people, especially rising. Well, you, like the Taurus folk, have been under a lot of eclipse duress, starting in January, especially of 22, ending in July of 23. And so I want to honor that for you because, it's worth noting that you are the ones getting the brunt of the eclipses right now. So all love to you guys for sure. It's not been an easy road. However, this is a month that offers up some sweet spots and some blessings, especially with Venus helping you out at the end of the month. So let's get to it. First of all, you're a Mars ruled being. All right. And so Mars retrograde is not easy for you, nor is it for Aries people. So Mars has been retrograding, and that retrogradation started on October 30th and doesn't complete till January 12th. When Mars goes direct, your life will fall into place. You'll start to feel like everything that was up in the air or stagnant or quagmired or indecisive or just stuck gets going for you. So be patient this month, more momentum toward the 12th onward. And Mars will be going direct in Gemini, where he's been since August the 20th. It's a long stay in your 8th house of joint money with your spouse, resources, mortgages, financial obligations, debts, credit card debts, inheritance monies, those chunky monies, taxes. And now that he's going to go direct on January 12th, you get real clarity, directionality, and momentum. And you're really, sometimes he's just a cleanup act here, helping you clean up some of your financial structures. And some of you as a Scorpio rising have felt beleaguered around home with Saturn going through the house of you since 2 years, 3 years, and your 4th house of home, And so this could be new momentum around buying or selling or moving your home starting on January 12th through to March the 25th. But it's a momentum for a Mars being, and you need the momentum because you are ruled by this planet. Can't cover every single detail, but I do love Venus and Mars coming into that trine energy this month around the 9th of January. This is Venus moving in a condition of applying herself from your 4th house toward Mars. This is money stories to do with land, property, real estate, inheritance, legacy wealth, buying and selling of property, or leasing of property as well, because you're going to have Jupiter in the early degrees of the house of tenancies and leases. But all of those areas for Scorpio rising, especially, but Scorpio sun and moon secondarily, are picking up power. And, it feels to me like a breakthrough energy too, because you'll have around January 8th or 9th, Mercury trining Uranus, just as Venus is trining Mars. So Mercury is going to trine Uranus, but he's also deeply invisible in the heart of the sun, but he is trining Uranus, the god of the unexpected. All right. Whatever, things you don't see coming, the left fielders, I guess that's the best word for it, the left fielders. And it's coming from your house of legal contracts, documents, vows, and agreements. So what it is Uranus is there in where the eclipses have been in your marriage house. Some destabilization as the marriage or business partnerships are asked to grow larger, and legal agreements have been wobbly. With Uranus here receiving the energy of a trine from Mercury on January 8th and 9th. And this started on December 17th. It's going to be picked up steam on the 8th and 9th, and it's going to complete at the end of the month. By the way, 3 passes around the 29th, 30th. So this 3-part story. But I want to say, with Venus trining Mars at the same time as a Cazimi, basically, it looks like some financial openings for a lot of you guys. Something you're doing at home, from home, to do with the home, do with property, legacy, wealth could open up for sure. And the energy here is such that Mercury in Capricorn of your 3rd house could be there's some financial benefit coming through a local neighborhood of contact, through a childhood friend, through a sibling or extended family network of aunt, uncle, cousin. They could financially benefit you and maybe also help you up level your home in some way or change something to do with your home life. Mercury in your 3rd house in a trine to your 7th gives you a kind of a potential trip or travel with some significant other that could be suddenly appearing. The Cazimi, though, on the 9th, 8th, 7th, means that you have to wait a bit until we see the morning star rise of Mercury, which will be around the 12th, 13th of the month. And you can see him in the sky, and all of a sudden you got a chance to travel or take that trip with your partner or resolve a legal contract or agreement to do with your neighborhood. All right. Good for your money too, though, this month. Lastly, and I do everything in depth, every big transit in depth with all signs all month long. I put up like 30 videos a month usually. So if you're interested in wanting to track those things in more detail, just subscribe and hit the like button for notifications. And then you could also win readings with me. I'm pondering Venus. So Venus in Aquarius throughout the month basically is important for your home life. You might be decorating, beautifying, puffing up, refurnishing, painting your home. You may be having a friend female visit you in your home. This is going to happen really quite a long time where all these themes I just iterated are important. And that is like January the 2nd to the 26th. But, this is also good for financial developments to do with property and real estate. But then later on, then when Venus moves into your 5th house, it's a fertility signature. So if you or your partner want to get pregnant, you'll have Venus moving through your 5th house, which can lead to conception, which is wonderful, or positive developments for your already existing children. That starts on January 26th and does not end until February the 20th. Take advantage of it. It's a great fertility cycle for those of you planning to have a child. Good news and developments around your lucky money breaks. You could win a lottery here. You could have some unexpected financial bonus points through unexpectedly lucky developments as well. And lastly, this is a romance signature, particularly if you're with someone, you just get more sexy together and have more fun. But if you're single, this can bring in a love story for sure. Could be exciting, quite dramatic, because Venus moving through your 5th house into the month of February will continually form sextiles to Uranus in and worth noting, your 7th of marriage. Any dating relationship that starts will be full of people, the energy of someone that's not really in your wheelhouse of the normal kinds of people you date, but has the potential to bring a sense of exhilaration, freedom, enjoyment, and potential commitment as well. Thanks you for listening, Scorpios. Anything else to tell you? Because I need to keep going at a clip here before I've been, at the end of the day, I'm ready for a nappy poo. We're going to do the moon separately. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys are hanging in there with those eclipses. They're over basically after the real, there's one eclipse in May, on May 5th, and there's a very lightweight eclipse on October 28th, and then you're done. You're done. The eclipses are no longer buffering you and your significant others in your life. Hey, Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. Now I'm doing this as the light is fading. Sometimes don't take care about your lighting, but it's just telling you I'll be getting more dark and dark. Hit the like button if you're in the live premiere. Why do people get so gnarly sometimes when you actually become a person on YouTube? I don't know. Instead of like a robot dispensing, like a, what do you call that? Like a Pez dispenser, a robotic Pez dispenser of astrological transit information. That's what you want. Don't come to my channel. You're coming into my space. You're in my space. I'm in your space, That's kind of Aquarian of me. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. Jupiter is your Lord. We're going to talk about what he's up to. Big stuff with Jupiter moving in a direct motion. Yes, he was direct already, but just since, December 20th. So he barely got any speed up. And now he's going to go at a faster clip-de-clop through the month of January in your 5th house of romantic love. Children, conception, fertility, and pregnancy. It's definitely good for pregnancy. It's good for expanding your love story. New love can come in that's quite lovely. You can heal old love stories with Chiron here. Time to heal the love stories that don't work anymore in your life. This kind of healing of your sexual healing and sexuality and romantic stories is rare because Chiron is only here for a short time and Jupiter only comes here every 12 years. So there's some deep, profound healing. And you're starting to get the feel of that in January. And some of you are looking for committed love because in January, the Juno goddess is there as well in your 5th house. And this is going to make you want to, really solidify relationships and make them more committed or separate out if they're not right. Juno can just as well bring divorce as the wife of Zeus as she can new beginnings. So some of these themes are very much taking place in the month of January with that Jupiter moving forward. There's a lovely Venus sextile Jupiter on the 4th, 5th, 6th or so of January, as Venus in your 3rd house loves Jupiter up in your 5th. So certainly a romantic getaway, a romantic trip, something with a sibling that's positive for your joy factor, a potential move toward a new neighborhood that brings you greater joy, something about an old childhood friend or a female friend or sibling coming into the narrative all of a sudden could be very good for you in terms of finances as well. Jupiter is a wealth god in a money luck house. And there's this a kind of sense that maybe you might definitely take a trip, but it may also be for learning and learning something as much as it is for pleasure and enjoyment. And so we're looking at that trine around the beginning of the month, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Venus, when I say trine, sextiles Jupiter from Aquarius. Now Venus will be in your 3rd house, which is January the 2nd to the 26th. And this is good for pleasure travel, leisure travel, travel with a female friend, travel with a sibling, travel for enjoyment. It's really good for learning something that you enjoy as well, studying, like taking a class, but it's skills-based. It's not like, astrophysics, a philosophy, humanities. It's like you're going to learn something that you enjoy and you're going to have pleasure enjoying learning it. That makes sense. Maybe under a sage-like guide as well, because Saturn is here under a wise elder master. Funny enough, I think my Sagittarius sun ex-husband is going to be doing a Tantra retreat during this time with his person. So that makes a lot of sense as well. Getaway travel, Tantra retreat. And also, you're ruled by Jupiter. And I mentioned that he's going to be going through your 5th house, which is wonderful. And he does finish up there in May. What else can I tell you? I'm just trying to give the highlights for every sign. When Venus moves into your 4th house, this is Jupiter's home. So you have an affinity for your own 4th house. Jupiter also loves it there. And he was there, October 20th, October 28th through to December 20th, last past for 12 years. And you may be looking at expanding your home, changing your home, finding a more appropriate home, things like that. And when Venus is here on the 26th of January, she's exalted here. So you could find an exalted new rental or lease, an exalted new home to buy or sell. You may find in some kind of special endeavors going on, and not normally, because this happens every year, would be so focused on it, but Jupiter just left, and he's like prepared the way for her. He just left on December 20th, and then comes Venus, on January 26th, and she'll be there for a while, guys. She'll be in your fourth house until I'm going to tell you when I look at my numbers again, because I'm getting delirious, until February 20th. There's energy coming from the sixth house of pets, tenancies, and all of that. And so some of you could find the perfect place to rent at the end of January through to February 20th, with Venus forming an unexpectedly surprising, exciting North Node and Uranus sextile to your sixth house of leases. So or leasing a place, renting a place could happen for some of you Sag, Sun, Moon, and risings, especially the rising, but all of you will get some of this energy. Mars going direct is important, as well as Mercury. So Mars will finally go direct in your seventh house of significant other, marriage partner, and business partners. This allows you to get some, well, first of all, they may have been really conflictual or conflicted, or they have been going through a hard time ever since Mars got here August 20th. But now they are going forward, or you are going forward. Decisions are being made. Depends on what degree your descendant is sitting at, for Mars will station at 8 degrees of Gemini. Therefore, if your descendant is at 8 degrees of Gemini, this could be an ending or severing or cutting of a relationship. That means your ascendant is at 8 degrees of Sag. And something ends here, Mars knows what he's doing. Nothing happens to you. It's happening for you. Mercury will station direct around the 18th, go forward, sorry, 18th? Yeah, 18th of the month. As in Mars was January 12th, correct? And by the way, January 12th to March 25th of 23, a lot of stuff going on to settle things within existing love and long-term committed relationships, one way or the other. But then also with Mercury and Capricorn, I'll just simply say this: your money story, your earnings story from December the 6th to February 11th is under review by Mercury, especially during December 29th as he retrogrades, right, until the 18th. So you're going back to consolidate your possessions. You're looking at your paychecks, your earnings, and your financial well-being, and your values around money and what you value. And this is a very rare 2-month stay in your second house. So it's significant. Last happened in 2015 into 16. So this is a time in which the themes of your finances are on the top of your radar, and as it connects to the spousal money as well. So when I think back to my Sag son, ex-husband, we were separating our households back then. And of course, he was looking at our shared resources and who owed who what and stuff like that. But you're definitely looking at that direct station moment on the 18th being important. And this is a longer 3-part story. Quickly, December 17th, January 8th, and January 29th are all 3 parts of one story to do with resources, money, maybe shared resources across the way with spouse. And because the Cazimi is happening on the 7th, well, the trine to Uranus is happening on the 8th, there's a lot of unexpected money stories. This is a Mercury trine Uranus story. So December 17th, January 8th, and January 29th. Okay. And Uranus is sitting in your 6th house of debts, credit cards, debts, karmic debts, work routine. So money, work, money stories, unexpected developments. Stay tuned for that. Sagittarius, let me know how it goes. And thank you for listening, and let's keep it on. We're moving to the next sign. We have, after that, hit my like button, Aquarius. All right, I'm going to talk about you. You know what? I didn't even have to pause. I didn't know that I could change the backdrop without pausing the recording. Oh my God. I just tech skilled out a new development. Yay me. All right. Moving forward then. Oh, I didn't mean Aquarius. I meant Capricorn. Alrighty. Oh, my poor time stamping sister. I was hopeful that I was already that far along. Capricorn. Nancy, timestamp here. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. So folks, this is important. You've got a lot of Mercury action in the sign of you, and it's a significant time of 2 months in which Mercury is in your sign. your body, your sense of self and all of that. You're the one thinking, rethinking things, pondering things from December the 6th to February 11th. But the retrograde is specifically also relevant. Starting on the 29th of December, Mercury goes backwards and doesn't go forward again until January the 18th. This is you, therefore, going back and rethinking something, some idea, some prospect, some direction you wanted to go. You can also be rethinking a significant marriage type relationship, business partner, or how you apply yourself to your clients, audiences, and other, as well as your career and home stories. Big rethinking going on, career, home, significant others. You're really going back, and I think you're going inward, right? Mercury's inward. He's giving you messages, clues, synchronicities, and signs about which direction to go in. And that's what he can do for you when he's in the sign of you. And then Mercury will trine Uranus, the god of the shocking, unexpected, awe-inspiring stuff. And this can bring some big jolts for you, exciting ones as well, when it comes to fertility, children, romance, pregnancy, things that are about your children. They may have surprises. You may be going, oh my God, I can't believe my child is pregnant. My child is yada, yada. This is happening on December 17th, January 8th, and then January 29th, give or take a few days on either side. I want you to look at this as like a possibility, though, that you could have some unexpected developments in money luck, because the 5th house is a money luck house, and Venus will be moving most of January through the 2nd house, squaring your money luck house. And then even better, January 26th onward, she'll move into your 3rd house and sextile it. So look for some unexpected money luck stories that Mercury, god of markets and mercantile, may try to bring into your life. And so that is one of the stories of January, unexpectedly positive money stories. With Venus, the money goddess, sitting in your 2nd house, she's really trying to help you with finances, make your money story better, give you some new beautiful possessions to make you feel better, help you change your values around money, and bring you more joy in your money narrative. She'll be doing that on January 2nd through to the 26th. So it's good for that. And then, I like that Saturn's here, because even though he's made you wiser with your money, right? Ever since, especially so it started in March of 2020, and it's been ongoing. It ends in March of 23. Wiser with your money, conservative, saving it, looking at it with a realistic eye. Okay. And now Venus is here, and she's rewarding you as well. She's like, okay, and let's give you a perk. It might be time for you to acquire a very lusciously, but practically useful, because she's kind of Aquarian here, possession that you need, but that you really want. Then she moves into your 3rd house of neighborhoods, trips, and travel. Certainly she'll be there on the 26th of January through to the 3rd week of February. This looks like love travel for pleasure, enjoying a trip, enjoying learning something, enjoying the company of a sibling, enjoying the company of a childhood friend. All of these things are looking positive for you on the 26th of January until the 3rd week of February. And last but not least, with Jupiter moving through your 4th house, now gaining momentum, choices and ambitions and opportunities and luck and wealth regarding home, land, and property are yours to be had, Capricorn. And that's true until the end of May, or the 2nd week of May. But during this month, January 3rd, 4th, 5th, Venus in your money house sextiles Jupiter in your 4th house of property, where Mars goes direct in your 6th house of rentals and pets. Long story short, seriously good developments between January 5th and 6th through to January 13th, 14th, after Mars goes direct, signing contracts, leases, agreements, renting a place, renting out a place, leasing a place, buying a place, selling a place, etc. A lot of good stuff going on there for you in that parts of the month. And lastly, Saturn is your Lord, and he will leave your sign of putting you more seriously involved in your money story, right? He will leave there in March, and you won't be focused so much on that. But a cautionary note, he'll move into your 3rd house, and it can bring hardship with siblings, hardship with travel, and hardship with a neighborhood environment. So be careful if you are moving, because some of this looks like Caps want to move. Be cautious about where you move to, that it really suits who you are. So, you Capricorns have been having some disruptions and unexpected developments with your children, if you have them. And, the Saturn going over the 3rd house in March is the house of elementary schools. And high schools and stuff. So you could also be like trying to find a more solid educational setting for you or a child. Well, not you unless you're really young listening to this, but if you're in high school, that could be true. Change high schools, that kind of thing. All righty. Thank you for listening, Capricorn. Let's get to the Aquarius. Now I realize I don't have to pause the recording. I didn't know that. And so I have never tried. I'm trying to use Zoom to do the images behind me, and how exciting that I can just change them with you guys still here. Learn something new every day. We're almost done. I have a feeling this is a 2-hour video. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. I need water. Aquarius. You have to be patient. I'll be right back. No, the water is this way. Oh my God. Coming back for Aquarius. Oh my God, I have to laugh. I feel like a pizza tonight, guys. I feel like some comfort food or a mac and cheese for dinner or something like that. All right. This is what doth dangle from my top. It's a little dangle. All righty. So Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign people. I'm one of you. Yeah. Here's the deal. I can't not but start with Saturn is getting ready to leave our first house, and that's going to happen in March. But it's worth noting because it's just like every time I talk to us, I think about, holy man, it's going to feel better soon. Less hardship, less illness, less endurance, less stress, less responsibility, less duty. But let's talk about January and get off of the other story. Well, first of all, the Lord Saturn is pretty well not doing much for you, right? So we're just going to have to talk about general things. He's not like the big story at all in the month of January. Venus is, and so is Mercury. Venus is moving into your house January 2nd, and she'll be there until the 26th. And this is your time to get your hair cut, get your nails done, get a pedicure, get a massage. I'm going to do it. I belong to a float tank place. I'm going to start floating again and use my membership floats up. Pampering yourself, being more available to love yourself, being available for love. If you feel in the mood for it, it's all up to you. And as she's moving through your first house, you feel more lucky and more beautiful and just more content in your own being. And so get ready for that. A lovely experience that happens every 2 years because Lord Saturn is still in your first house. He's tempering everything with common sense and realism. If you do meet somebody and you get into a relationship under this transit, believe me, it's going to be a very realistic look at what love looks like. And in fact, if a relationship does come to you during January, then it's going to be with either somebody older or somebody that feels like a karma mate, or that's going to be very serious very quickly. Okay, so keep that in mind. And then Venus will move into the sign of Pisces on the 26th and be there till about February 20th. That's where your money story goes up, 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 up. Venus can up level your possessions, your earnings. You might get a fancy this, a fancy that, but she's exalted here, right? Jupiter sign, she's exalted. And it's going to be in an ongoing sextile to the 4th house of property, land, and real estate. So as she moves through here, you might end up buying some beautiful furniture, or you may end up getting some money that you need to apply towards buying or selling or leasing or renting a property, anything like that. Or money that you're making at home and from home can suddenly accelerate, like go boom, up into the sky, because she's going to be at the end of January into February applying toward a sextile to Uranus in your 4th house. When she's still in Aquarius beforehand, she does make some interesting contacts, right? And one of them is she will, let me give you the date, sextile Jupiter on the 4th, 5th, 6th or so of the month, flowing toward Lord Jupiter, who is a benefic, and she is a benefic. So it's two happy people. And it's good energy flowing between the house of you and your 3rd house of siblings, trips and travel, good energy in the first week of January around things to do with learning and teaching, or skills-based learning and teaching, and writing. So get ready for that flow from Venus in the house of you towards your 3rd house storylines. Venus does do a little gnarly square to Uranus on January 15th. This is about property, land, and real estate, home, domestic, and private life. Sometimes legacy wealth, like inheritances, can happen. Venus squaring Uranus, unexpected North Node energy, January 15th. Well, it's unexpected. It's Uranus. I really don't know what the hell it's about, but it's happening in her house. So you could win a lottery maybe, because squares don't always mean they're negative. I'm hopeful, knock on wood. I don't want to knock on wood, the dog will bark, but I am enrolled in a kind of a real estate lottery. Maybe I'll win something. What else is happening here? Pondering. Give me a minute. There is another story I wanted to mention. I just have to find it in all my paperwork. Patience is caution for me at the end of the day. Give me a minute. Yes, Venus trines Mars. I knew I could find it. January 9th. Venus trines Mars. Well, this happens every 2 years, but in this way, once every year in this particular way. So Venus is trining a retrograde Mars, which means there's a delay in the results. When Mars goes direct on January 12th onward, you'll see what she's giving you here. But Venus is trining Mars from the house of you to the house of children, romance, and pregnancy. This is happening on January 9th. You may not know the results until after January 12th. So get ready for some unexpected developments around conception, fertility, romance, children, your own independent business enterprise, money luck, and all of that stuff. And that really is a signature move of Venus here, bringing you something good in that 5th house area, including inspiration and joy and new passion as well. But, again, Mars retrograde, you may not know what it's really about until after the 12th, but she plans to see it on January the 9th. And then Mercury is very busy in a long stay in your 12th house, very subtle. Pay attention to your dreams between like December 6th and February 11th. I've been having dreams like crazy, big dreams, shamanic dreams, teaching dreams, monks in my dreams, shamans, and it's like wild. So your dreams at night, if you're one of me, high dream recall person, please write them down. This is an important transit. It's 2 months long. Haven't had this longer transit since December of 15 into January of 2016. This is a rare thing. And also in Capricorn, 3 times Mercury will trine Uranus in your 4th house of homeland, property, real estate, ancestral stuff, etc., from your 12th house of backroom deals and subtle psychology and dreams at night and things to do with your past lives and things to do with your hidden addictions and bad habits. Okay, so Mercury doing this trine to the 4th house, though, its 4th house is really practical. It's your home. It's where you live. So let's see what we could make out of this. The 3 dates of this trine that you need to watch for is December 17th, and then later January 8th, and then later just January 29th. Now, to be clear, and I mentioned this earlier, this is a replay of some energies you were feeling already back in the last week of July and the first week of August, because that's when there was a synodic cycle of the North Node and Uranus connecting at the same degrees that Mercury is activating. And when Mars back there, it meant change of home, which happened to me. Unexpected, shocking change of home. As the woman's home I was renting, she decided she needed to take her home back, and I had to find a new place to live. But so the stories that happened for us at the end of July, beginning of August are back again for reinvention. And so pay attention to January 8th, because even though there is a Mercury retrograde trining Uranus, the qualifier is both Uranus and Mercury are retrograde. And so you may not see the results yet, especially until Mercury goes direct on January 18th and Uranus on the 22nd, but something is being conceptualized, conceived, planted, put into motion from the backroom deals of reality, from your dreams, from your visions, your manifestations, maybe, I don't know, from January 8th, that you will see the full results of, certainly by January 29th with the last trine. Unexpected, exciting developments. Now, money can be made in the 12th house from foreign lands and foreign trade, barter, overseas, stuff. In our modern day, that's our PayPal, Stripe accounts that allow us to do revenue from anywhere in the world. Get ready to get lucky then, or unexpected positive developments could happen around the end of January when Mercury trines Uranus for the last direct pass. It could be an upgrade in your home. Okay, for example, I'm going to just say there's this lottery draw, I think is on February 1st, and it's going to Mercury trine Uranus in the house of real estate January 29th. If I win this lottery, which is about real estate, I'll let you guys know. Oh my goodness, it's so much fun. Anything else to tell you guys? It is fun, actually. Astrology can be really fun. Mars is going direct. Yeah, pay attention to that. On January 12th in your 5th house of romance. If I said this already, I apologize. I'm getting a little tired now. It's been a long day, and it's now almost 5 o'clock in Vancouver, Canada, on December 29th. Patreon community gets us a little bit early, not much because I'm behind schedule today. Romance. It's been hard. Mars is here, been here since August 20th. Some of you had a romance and pulled back on a romance. I can speak to that. That was Mars going retrograde October 28th, and I pulled back out of a romance that started when he went direct August 20th. So August 20th to October 28th, Mars is the god of passion and sexuality moving through your romance house and your children house. And I moved away from my children, and then I moved back. I moved into a romance and I pulled out of it. So look at those themes, what's been going on for you regarding those themes. Also entrepreneurial, independent business stuff. Did I pull back on something and forward on something a little bit? Yeah, in my business. And then the thing is that Mars is going direct on January 12th. Now, romance can go direct. Connection to your children can go direct. You can move away from your children. They can move away from you. You can move forward in a new relationship, or move forward in one that you stalled on and you jump started, or you can move forward in a brand new relationship. Love, romance, relationship starting on January the 12th onward. Gung ho Mars. Let's see what happens to me. Do I go back into the one I pulled away from? Do something new come into my life? Can't make this stuff up, guys. Mars retrogrades, and I go, whoa, too much, too soon, too fast. That was what I told the guy. Too much, too soon, too fast. And Mars was just turning retrograde, and I'm like, I'm out of here for now. We'll see. All right, moving on to the last and the best, the first and always first, next sign. It's amazing how irritated they get, that sign that we shall not name, when you say the other words that they don't like and tell you you're going to quit your channel if you say it again. Yeah. All right. That's you, Pisces, first and always first. And I actually made you first on my last video with Saturn moving into Pisces. And then somebody in the chat said, oh my God, have I missed Aries already? I'm going, no, we're starting with Pisces. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign people. And if you're in the live chat and you haven't hit my like button, and we're at the end of it, I think it's probably 2 hours, please do. Thank you. It does help the channel grow. It's an algorithmic hack. It just makes things happen. All right, so Pisces, sorry, Pisces. I forgot to move you forward. I'm looking at the back end of my software. So by far, Jupiter leaving your sign is a big deal. And this happened on December the 20th. He's done with you. You probably gained some weight. Some of you got pregnant. And for the most part, you had a lot of up leveling as Jupiter tried to make you more fully big and large and grandiose, and more you actually, so that you could do more in the world. But that's over with. And Lord Jupiter's moving in December 20th through January through your second house. I don't normally start here, right? But Jupiter, as the Lord of you, is doing something important. He's going to move through the whole sign of your second house until May 16th. And this is a story that starts to get momentum in January about making more money. And, Venus on the 3rd, 4th, 5th or so will sextile him from your 12th house of PayPal, Stripe, and payment processors, foreign lands and foreign insurance, backroom deals, and your self-sabotage and undoing. This certainly looks like a good place for you in the sky the first week of January to jumpstart some new earning strategies and money endeavors. Because of Jupiter's placement in the second house, there's also the tendency here to want to expand your earning style, but sometimes spend too much money. So be careful in January with Venus as well. She loves her pleasures, that you don't overdo the spending in the first week of January. Be a little more cautious, because Jupiter is generous for one thing, and he just loves to make things larger, and you could spend more than you anticipate. So rein the spending in the first week of January, but otherwise the long arc story is your money story is going to improve all the way through until May. Earnings, money, possessions, and in shared resources with the spouse, inheritance monies are activated across the way as well. Mars finally goes direct in the house of home and real estate. And this has been a long story, angular for you, meaning in your 4th house. Mars went retrograde here. First of all, Mars got here on August 20th. He retrograded on October 30th. He's going direct on January 12th. January 12th is going to be new directionality and momentum around property, land, home, real estate. And if you've been having fights or difficult conversations or difficult times with someone in your home, that's going to start to change after January 12th. So things are moving forward, new directions, new momentum, and strong decisions are being made in that regard. Some of you may be looking at shared resources, legacy, and wealth from inheritances and property from inheritances, because this is a legacy house connecting to the 8th, and Venus did Cazimi in your 8th house of inheritances and spousal shared resources back in October. For some of you, this is definitely that kind of narrative, getting momentum mid-January onward. Now, I would like to bring your attention to the movement of Venus through Aquarius, because she can bring you a real ability to go more deeply into your own self-undoing, sometimes through the pursuit of pleasure that's not good for you, while she's in the 12th house. And that's going to be happening all the way through January, from the 2nd to the 26th. So besides being good for your money, which she is good there for your money, if you're doing PayPal Stripe stuff, it's also just remembering you could overdo the pleasures. But when she moves into the house of you on January the 26th, and secret pleasures like hiding the vodka in the toilet, behind the toilet, or eating the chocolate when your spouse is asleep, or that kind of thing. All right. But then on January 26th, Venus will move into your house, and you're going to get a haircut. Or January 6th to February 20th, you're going to start to look good again. You're going to pay attention to your appearance. You're going to upgrade your wardrobe. You're going to get your nails and hair done. This applies to men. You'll get a better suit or something. You'll start to feel better about yourself. You'll start to feel more likable. You'll like yourself better. You're more charming and you're more charismatic. It's a great time to put your face forward in the world, because people will like you a lot when Venus is going through your first house. And she's exalted here. So she brings you a sense of exaltation. So you can be extremely, like, the best haircut you've ever had, or the most beautiful nail salon ever, or the best up level of self-love you've ever managed to pull off. As she moves through your first house, of course, she's going to be operating in a kind of a contact to your 4th house that gives you the potential on the last week of January into the 3rd week of February for really pulling off some positive real estate deals as well. Mercury will trine Uranus. So it's kind of unexpected but positive stuff from Capricorn, your house of eldest sibling, goals and dreams, great gains from your career, long-term plans for your life, allies and benefactors. And he'll trine from that house to your 3rd house of siblings, trips and travel and short journeys, as well as your local neighborhood. So think of it as potential unexpected but positive surprises in those areas of your life on December 17th. There might have been one already. And then on January 8th, it's back again. And then finally finishing strong on January 29th. January 28th is more complicated. There's a cazimi then. Mercury goes into the heart of the sun and is deeply invisible on the 7th, and then comes out, barely out, and trines Uranus. So this could be something to do with plans that you have for your life that you're not telling anyone about yet, or something an eldest sibling has got going on that she's keeping or he's keeping low key, or something that may have to do with a potential group of belonging. And then all of a sudden, like a group of connections or great gain from your career that's postponed financially. And then I would say that with Mercury being visible around the 12th or 13th of the month, again, as a morning star, that you're going to find yourself seeing the output of what this is really about just after January the 12th. And then lastly, January 29th, yet another connected positive surprise here. For example, my sister is a Pisces rising, lives in Ohio, want to visit her. Maybe I'll be able to pull off a trip. And maybe that's the thing that we're seeing, because it's all about siblings, an eldest sibling, and I am both to her. But you as a Pisces rising will have your own individual narrative. And a lot of it depends on your own chart, which is why getting a reading with a real astrologer can be a very positive thing. And I think that's about it. I don't have much more to add. I did cover the direct motions. I think I did. And yeah, I think so. I hope I didn't forget anything for you guys. Yeah, I think I covered it. Mars going direct, moving forward. Yeah. Thank you for listening. I hope I didn't give anybody too short a time. When I start with Aries, I'm full of vim and vigor. And by the time I get to the Pisces people, sometimes it's been a long day and I realize I may have run out of steam. So if I do that, sometimes I apologize. Thank you for being in my live chat with me today. Thank you for being a part of my crew. If you're a regular, thank you for being a subscriber and a supporter of my channel. You really do help me grow. I reached my goal of 10,000 subscribers from 3,000. In fact, I am now at 15,500 as I record this on December 29th. So I pole vaulted over my goal for the year. Thank you so much. It's because of all of you listeners, watchers, and subscribers that I'm here today. Please, I read all my comments. There's not a comment I don't read. It's on my app. And I will heart you, or I will like you, or yes, it's 4:54, or I will comment back. So I'm very engaged. So if you do have a thought or a comment, please do put it in the comments box. I am a Aquarius. I like to build community and I want to have real connections in groups of people. All right. Thanks. Thanks for listening, guys. Whoo, check out my description box. 2023 all sign videos are out already for purchase. It helps me as a professional. And I put lots of love into 12 hours of content for $35 or buy a la carte your sign for $14 or $15. All right. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Have a great life. Have a great January. Mwah. I'm going to get some pizza I'm going to order a pizza. It's a pizza day. Ciao, ciao.